Unsee the Future. Hello and welcome to Unsee the Future, the Hopey Chatty Bits, the podcast in which I, Timo Peach, meet artists, solarpunks and changemakers reimagining the stories we think we're in. And we've come to the end of our first series. What a ride. What have I learned from it so far? Well, I'm going to cogitate that and try and piece something together. What amazing guests I've had already. Each of them giving me, I feel, a different fragment on the idea of storytelling in a time of crisis and how we reimagine that narrative we feel trapped in and don't even think about. Feels very much like a beginning to me. How's it been for you? Have you got some nuggets and some interesting points out of it for yourself? Let me know. Get in touch. But today, as a last episode, I've got a guest that's particularly special to me and I always had in mind to wrap things up with because she's a very dear art mate of mine. Full disclosure. So who is my guest in episode 10? My guest today is a visionary artist, writer and mentor of sacred women's wisdom. A performer, illustrator and storyteller, she sees her life and art as a passionate process of creating and recreating, surrendering to the cycles of life. First visual artist in residence of Lighthouse Poole Centre for the Arts in Dorset, much of her work has been site-specific and collaborative, using outside and inside spaces to bring people together, exploring inner landscapes of meaning. All of it, she says, an invitation for people to explore deeper truths of themselves. She says, when we connect into our innate source of inspiration, we tune into the universe. It is, she adds, a web of infinite expression. She sees the role of the artist not simply as testifier or interpreter, but in many ways as priestess, even alchemist, facilitating women especially to access their own innate creative intelligence and confidence. My deepest desire is for the expression I share to spark inspiration in you, she says. Your story matters. Your life is your own masterpiece. Now, a key work she's been exploring for over 10 years is a narrative interpreting a deeply personal journey, the monochronium. And it is this project that brought us together, a collaboration that is celebrating 10 years of co-creation, playful production, storytelling experimentation, and brazenly celebrating each other's unadulterated genius. She is my dear art mate, the one and only Hazel Evans. Hello, mate.
Hello, mate.
Now, we thought we'd do this episode a bit differently because, well, look where we are.
We're in the incredible orange-walled studio, place of creation. This is where it all happens.
This is where it all happens.
Many hours of, just...
How would you describe it?
Spilling out from the source of creation. Expressions of, art and words and life and just purging it out, right?
So much has purged and spilled all over this modest shed floor here today, you're right. And so we thought it might be rather good to have a little special intro on the video here, being in the space together, cooped up in this same shot.
Exactly.
Because we've been cooped up in here so much over the years. 10 years, man.
I know. And how many? We haven't even actually counted the amount of projects we've done together. But
no.
I guess that the one that is really celebratory, the one that began our journey together, and the one that we are taking to another level right now is, of course, the monochronium.
The monochronium. Now, dear viewer, listener, do you know what that is? You may well do. You may not at all. We're going to introduce you to it a little bit here. It's been very special to me. I will say up front, as I think I do in the entire podcast. It's produced some of my own favourite work. You've been very open and generous in letting me in as a collaborator, which you do. You let people in very generously to your work.
Yeah, well, I mean, like we say in the other part of the podcast, you know, it was like, can I record some of my poetry? You're like, yeah, great. 6 weeks later, like literally probably like, I don't know, most of the days of 6 weeks we spent in here, and we had, you know, this whole landscape, this whole sonic landscape that was putting an audio interpretation into those parts of the inner workings, the inner landscapes and the pictures and everything that was coming out and the performances.
And we made, in fact, look on, let's put it into this shot as well. It's sitting right here, this sacred artefact.
Yeah.
Now we show it elsewhere, but there it is, Adventures into the Monochronium, if I can not catch the light, physical.
That's the first album.
That is the first album we did together. 6 weeks before this existed, we didn't know each other very well.
No, exactly, and it really made the perfect sonic landscape for my exhibition. It was just incredible to have such a richness of audio to have been birthed out in that. And like you said in the amazing introduction, thank you very much, was how personal this work is, and this is why it's still alive today, because it's not, you know, we created one piece and then it was finished. It's like it's actually opened up a whole journey for the last 10 years.
It really has, and I love the story of you exploring it, and you're going to put more and more of that onto your website, the iterative way that you've looked at it. Now, we talk about this on the main podcast. This time round, we are sharing this as a special little video insight. You and me here mucking about in the studio.
Yeah, because it's such an important place and such an incredible place of our journey. And so actually this, I suppose this podcast, and it's celebrating the end of your first series of these podcasts.
It is.
As well as celebrating our 10 years of working together. And it is about the creative process.
It is, which involves a lot of sitting out there in our little garden around a campfire while you tell us stories of the monochronium, and we all go, wow. And a lot of kind of making salads in there in our little house. Yes, you've been part of the family here when you've come around to do art, and we felt like each other's family while making this. It's been a lovely, playful relationship over 10 years, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Nice and simple for us to just get together, get into a flow that we found in each other's worlds, and we've been coming back to that flow lately, which we will get to in a sec. Now, I would point out, as you watch Unsee the Future, the Hopey Chatty Bits with me, Timo Peach, the whole interview of us talking and really getting into your work and where that's come from, and a little bit more about this project. You can hear that on the podcast. Search for Unsee the Future on your favourite podcast app as an audio experience. We go to a special space, don't we, to record that?
Yes, yeah.
Where do we go?
We go to Lighthouse, Poole, the Centre of Arts, which is where they invited me to be artist in residence for 5 years, and this is where the work was born. This was the venue in which this project was born and given the opportunity to be born, which was incredible, and really allowing the interpretation of a life to become into art. And this is, you know, what I also talk about, how the process of creation facilitates life itself.
The process of art facilitates life itself, yes. And that's why I wanted to talk to you in this last episode, because you're such an artist of inner landscapes. But as I say in the interview, you've given me the word art with confidence. Meeting you 10 years ago, like, you more or less handed me that word. You need the word art in what you do with confidence. And of course, it's become central to Unsee the Future and writing a whole book. So, you know, like I say in the interview, thanks, mate. It's quite handy. I'm quite pleased you strolled in here and went, can I do a bit of poetry?
Art really does save lives.
Art saves lives.
Yes.
You heard it here. Now, I think we should announce, we're going to share with you here in a minute, we're going to share some selections from our chat in the Sherling studio at Lighthouse, so you can get a flavour of where we were and what we were doing. But surely we've got to announce that we have also been reopening that flow just gently, right here in the studio, right here today. Can you announce what the project is?
Yes, it's the Monochronium Prophecy. This is the next level of this body of work, which has really turned into my life work. Yeah.
Smash cut to a little teaser trailer for the Monochronium Prophecy.
Imagine that place where only you have been. You may have tried to bring others there, but it was simply not possible. Or is it?
Wow, that looks good. Doesn't it?
Yeah, it's really, what is it? It's really to inspire others into creation. Now, it doesn't mean that everybody has to be an artist or a writer or a musician or performer, but it's the act of creation, because when you're in the act of creation, you can create a different reality for yourself, and that it can be anything at all. And this is what this is about, is realizing that we take responsibility for the artistry of our own lives, and we can move that into an expression of creation. So that's what this is, essentially like the prophecy. This is what it's about.
Take responsibility for the artistry of our own lives. Write that down.
Yeah.
Blimey. And it is it's an invitation to a meditation, really, this piece, isn't it? Whilst being a reinterpretation, a re-celebration of most of the pieces from the original album. It's a slight reflow of them. There's one or two missing. You'll see in the full podcast we explain some of those that are not in this interpretation but have not gone away. But this flow is an interesting one with some additional new pieces. And it's a lie down and close your eyes and listen to this, and it will take you on a journey, man. It will. Yeah,
this is the invitation to experience the playfulness, that accessing of the universal wisdom when we relax and we come into play, but then going deeper. And it's meditative, but it's also journey work. So it's evocative, and it's to pull those emotions out of you, to create, inspire transformation within yourself. And so as we were piecing it together, it was incredible to realise, wow, actually over the last 10 years, parts of this have come true in my life. And this is where it's like, what is this? What is this new piece we're creating? Wow, I've actually written what was happening and what has come true into my life, even though it's told through metaphor and story and everything. This is how artists work, right? This is how we do it. So this incredible process actually showed me and us once again, the art shows us what it is, rather than us trying to dictate the art. So I think that's what's so incredible about working with you on this.
I'm just tagging along, making jokes and tea in many ways. Which it surprises you enormously, dear viewer listener, I can tell. But it's fair to say it might look to some people like we're mucking about. And the lovely First Lady of Momo comes home from work when she was working away and would always say, I never know what I'm going to find you two up to. But she wouldn't turn her hair. She'd go, oh, right, that. Obviously that.
Can two creatives have that much fun playing together?
Stop it now. It's not fair, it's not right.
And making art, and really, is it possible? But that's the thing, is that when we unlock and we play together in such a way, the synergy and the alchemy unlocks other levels of creativity. And I guess that's, when you meet somebody such as your amazing self, that we can unlock that creativity together.
Indeed, we do unlock it.
Yeah.
We unlock something. Mainly we unlock things by saying, have you spotted that that's genius?
Yeah.
Yes, I did. And have you spotted that what you did is also genius? And that forms the basis of how we work.
Well, you see, confidence is key, isn't it?
It is, though. Boss your magnificence is what you're always saying. We're trying to help each other boss at each other's magnificence. And
why not, quite frankly? Why would you not do otherwise?
Why would you not?
Yeah.
I agree. We probably do need a third person who's quite circumspect to go, right, you two jokers, calm down. This might need more editing. But we don't bother finding that third person. We're just too busy having fun. So, the Monochronium Prophecy is out. Links are below. Go and find it on Hazel's Bandcamp page and get a good pair of headphones and go for a long walk or lie down and listen to it. And it is some of my favourite pieces of music are on there, and the reinterpretation you put into it feels like we've made this little pile of stones together at this point on the way journey. We're both in quite a sort of creatively tired space, but it feels like an intersection between 10 years of stuff spiralling round, but also projecting forward because we have plans for the Monochronium, and if the universe unfolds as it should, then they're very exciting plans for the future. But at this point, this is just a take on it, like all the others that you've done.
And to inspire others to open up to an incredible journey.
Yeah, that's the point of your work, isn't it?
It has been an incredible journey.
It has. So I urge you to go find the full audio listen of our interview in the Sherling studio. It was a lovely chat where we really look at the origins of the Monochronium and your work and how you came to this and why you do it, and why I think talking to you was a sort of vital last episode on this first series of the Hope Chatty Bits.
Thank you for inviting me.
Mate, good work.
Yes.
And should we try a high five? Yes. Hazel Evans, thank you for being my guest on Unsee The Future, the Hope Chatty Bits.
You are so welcome. Thank you so much.
Hazel Evans.
Hazel Evans! The face of the future, Hazel Evans!
And I am, of course, here in casual everyday wear with Hazel Evans.
Phase 3. Look at your eyes. These can be used for exposure to surprise. Phase 4. Look at your ears. This is where you stick new music and new ideas. Phase 5. Look at your spleen. When voting, stand back to keep your shoes clean. Phase 6. Look at your heart. It keeps you alive and it feeds on art.
The Anatomy of May!
Wait, what did we come in for? How's the standing going, Hazel?
Behave!
Five songs to help us unsee the future. It's happened. We're now on the other side of it.
Yeah, we're on the other side.
On the dark side of the moon.
How do you feel? What did we do again?
We
Silence.
Sips the red bush tea. Well.
Light-lit sky walking through a circled floor. The lines lead to a half-open door. Scribblings curling, sideways unfurling, and singing songs are tweeties. Birding.
I think that's a wrap.
Here we are.
Hello.
Hello, welcome to Unsee the Future, the Hopey Chatty Bits. It's about time.
Yeah, well, it is about time, isn't it?
And
Thank you for having me.
Well,
it's so
indeed.
brilliant to be here with you.
you are the perfect guest for me for the last episode of this first series, looking at storytelling, because of the nature of your work and how you tell stories and the sort of themes that you explore. We'll get to that.
Yeah.
We are here in the Sherling studio in Lighthouse, Poole. There's some memories in this building, aren't there?
There are very, very many memories of this building and in the various different avenues and theatres and parts of it. So it's incredible to be back here today, actually, after such a long journey in these last 10 years.
Yes, and we'll get to some of that as well. I would say it's been a lovely warm welcome from Elspeth and everybody here. As soon as I said Hazel Evans, they went, red carpet, come in.
It's been lovely to have a warm welcome, yeah.
Now, I normally ask my guests where in the world you are. We are in Poole, but how else would you answer that question? Where in the world are you, Hazel?
Where in the world am I? Well, you know, I could be anywhere. But right now, I'm in a big place of change in my life, coming back into, recreating lots of different things in my life on many different levels. And that's why it's great to be back here with you.
It is great to be back. Starting at the beginning, I would say, very first question is, everybody thinks of you as an artist. You'll use that word a lot. There are many different ways of describing the kinds of work you've done and the practices that you pull together. What does the word art or artist even mean to you?
Good question. This really, to me, is being a creator, because art can, obviously we can think, oh, it's painting or it's sculpture or it's performance or it's singing. We can put it to a method. But art to me really is about creation, and it is about channeling that which is inside and bringing it outside into expression. And it doesn't matter what expression that is. And that to me is art.
But I think of one particular art practice with you. I think of a few key practices of art that help us think creatively, but a key one I think of with you is embodiment. That you put your face, your voice, your physicality into the marks and the words that you create. Does that ring true for you? And if so, what's the importance of embodiment in your work? Why are you so present, obviously, in what you do?
Well, I think I have always got my art and my creation and my themes from within. So that is a natural sense of embodiment, and travelling through experiences and feelings and emotions and bringing that out. So embodiment is absolutely important to me. And as I've been developing my art journey, it's not just about a process of discovering what's on the outside world, but it's been a simultaneous process of discovering how that outside world affects the inside world. And it's like this symbiotic synergy between working with the outside world, the expression, but also what I receive from the outside world and experience, letting that come in and then going back out towards expression. So it's this symbiotic pulsation of movement that is embodiment. So it's not, so the art becomes an extension of myself, I suppose. And that's where storytelling and sound and pictures, and it could be any expression, is fundamentally important to me, because it needs to come out. It just needs to come out.
Well, it does need to come out, and that shows that you are as much a performer naturally as anything else. So it's, I guess, it's a natural part of who we are as artists, whether we are what I'd call creative chameleons, or I don't know what the alternative word is actually, all these years of talking about it, but some of us are just can't help but be obvious in our marks. I'm especially that way. I have to turn up, whether it's music, whether it's design or speaking, my voice is always very clear. It's just the way I have to do it. You're a little bit more of a chameleon, but we've always related in that way, haven't we? That we both have to turn up and be quite obvious in it. And that's fine too. Yeah,
and I think the core thread is the storytelling. And when we go back deeper into our innate wisdom and who we were like many eons and generations ago, how important messages were given to each other is through storytelling, and that in itself is an art, and it's also the art of storytelling, depending on how well you can get the message across. So everything is storytelling, and I suppose that's the one thread.
And there is something quite primal about that, clunky word, but beginnings, centuries before history, that exactly what you're saying, we'd have communicated in very physical ways with the landscape. Some of your work's been very physical in the outside. I'm thinking of a piece like Woodland Springs, where you got me dangling microphones down wells, you were climbing trees. Wonderful exterior experiences, very to do with landscape and something ancient about your work. But the reason I wanted to talk to you, one of the key themes, is because when I think of your storytelling, it's about inner landscapes, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that is absolutely right.
And you laugh because it really is, you embody what it means as an artist to put it all out there. A quote, you won't know what from yet, but we're going to reveal it, that I found quite powerful is, what would you say if I told you this whole story was true?
Yeah.
We're going to get to that. But that's it, isn't it? This is coming from something real within, but a story of an inner landscape, a lot of your work.
I think pretty much all of my work is like that, because I have to do what's true. I have to do what is fundamentally connected to truth. And that means to the heart, and that means the purity of expression. And I can't do it any other way, because otherwise I know I'm just faking it for whatever outside reason, and somehow I can't do it like that. So the embodiment and the art and that melding together is it's authenticity, isn't it? It's being an artist in your life. It's your life being the art as well. And it's like walking back in here 10 years later, and I'm like, wow, some incredible time loop where I'm coming back again and we're revisiting the work, which we'll probably talk about later as well. And it's also, I had to sit down for a moment and realize, wow, this place has supported me incredibly, and the work that came out of it was actually a purge from a traumatic life situation in the first time, and they supported me here in that development of that work, and all of that work and the music and the collaborations and the installations and everything that came out of it was part of that purging of understanding what is happening inside. And when we allow the creative energy just to flow through and to connect to our emotions without thinking, oh, I need to make this picture look nice. I need to make this sound right. Like just letting it purge out. This is the creative process that I was facilitated in being here. And this is why it so touches me so greatly to come back here again.
Hazel Evans, mate, I love you and your work. Thank
Love you
you
too,
for everything.
yeah.
We'll go off and have coffee, big each other up.
Yeah.
Hazel, thank you for being on Unsee the Future, the Hopey Chatty Bits.
You are so welcome. And it's been such an incredible journey and pleasure to work with you these last 10 years. Let's open up the space to a new reality to create, huh?
Let's open up the space to a new reality to create. Amen.
Yeah, thank you.
Unsee the Future.
So there we are, the delightful Hazel Evans. What an art mate she is. And I can't emphasise enough really how much she brought an extra piece into my work. And interestingly, that the flavours and tone of what we both do, you'd think it would be quite different, especially because I tend to muck about quite irreverently. But somehow it works, and we've made some lovely stuff. And I do urge you to go and find The Monochronium Prophecy. It's first time that our work from The Monochronium 10 years ago is out properly on sort of digital download, remastered, new interpretations in there. It's some of my favourite work. So I hope you've enjoyed this first series of Unsee the Future, the Hopey Chatty Bits. And I really urge you to go and find Hazel and her work. hazelevans.co.uk, I think will take you through to where she is. Loads of good stuff in there. And when you see all the imageries of just how she embodies art, it's inspiring. And she is a gosh darn star. And everybody who knows her thinks so. And I've really enjoyed working with her. How'd that sound? Was that any good?
Mate, you're amazing.
Good. Great. So that was all right. We'll leave that in. No, we can edit this out. It's fine. Just slip me any other notes of.
Continue bossing your magnificence all
Fine.
the way.
Great. If you want to just add some flavour in the background,
We will continue creating until the universe expands beyond anything we've ever known before. Let that be known.
Let that be known. You can find all the foundational episodes of Unsee the Future's idiosyncratic style of research, exploring the big themes of our era of crisis, along with all the previous Hopey Chatty Bits at, say it with me, unseethefuture.com. There you can also find exclusive previews of the new book From My Findings, UTF, How to Think Like an Artist and Change the World.
Right on.
Right on, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty much exactly what you were saying. I say I'm bang on my own brand. 9 practices of art that can help you reimagine the story you think you're in, whether you think you're arty blighter or not. And you can encourage me by becoming a Momo amigo and joining the Unsee the Future mailers. And you can find out all about me as a music artist at momotempo.co.uk. What story do you think you are in? And are you figuring out yet how to change it? Let's encourage the more hopeful human tomorrow. Ciao for now.
Ciao, amigos.
Ciao, amigos. That's Italian and Spanish. Doesn't matter. You're multilingual. You can get away with that.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah.
Bye for now.
Art.